TTS about a year, and the GTI, I think like almost 5 years now. So I have a lot of experience with both, and I'd say I'm pretty unbiased because I love both the cars, and like we've all been there. Like you're at a car meet, and I mean, someone has a DSG or you have a DSG, you have an automatic. Well, we know DSG is different, but the guy's like, wow, awesome car, like nice modifications, like you're showing him under the engine bay and stuff, and then he like walks over and he's like, it better be a manual, and then he's like, whoa, and then he just like runs away, and you never see him again because he's too embarrassed to be seen around you. Just kidding, it's not really that bad, but it's happened to me ever since I got the Audi. Everyone wants it to be a manual, but I'm like, no, my GTI was manual, and now I'm switching over, and that's what this video is about. It's why I didn't switch over, but I wanted a DSG as well, because what I want from the cars, which is what we're going to talk about in the video, is my preference is really DSG for my main car. So to start, I'm going to do pros and cons of each, and then kind of like my overall experience with both of the cars. So pros with DSG to start is like, here, let's do a little sound clip here. The shifts are at 8 milliseconds, and a manual, the average manual driver shifts at I think it was like 500 milliseconds, and I think with no lift shifting you can get down to like 200 or even lower. But yeah, the shifts are just quicker, and that's gonna, like, milliseconds on the drag strip, like from the first few gears, and like those milliseconds add up quick on the drag strip, and they really make a difference. The DSG is that it's gonna win on a stock car versus stock car. The DSG is gonna win like in a race or on the drag strip every time. It just shifts that much faster and makes up that much more time reduced. The next pro, which is probably one of my favorites, is that the DSG can handle like 400 plus wheel torque, just no modifications. Like this one, because no one else has any tunes locally, it has an APR tune, which APR doesn't up the clamping pressure or anything like that. It just helps with drivability and other things like that. And the clutches are just now starting to slip, and this car has the transmission has like 80,000 miles, and the clutches are recommended to be swapped every 60,000. But right here I have SSP clutches. Hopefully I'm getting those put in this week, and then the transmission should be able to hold like 600 wheel, like, and I mean I guess if the gears can hold it and stuff, but like 600 torque. So we'll see what happens with that. I mean, this car's not going to make that much anyway on the stock motor and stuff. Here I'm doing a draggy. But because the clutches are slipping between like a little bit of in each gear, it's the 60 foot is not very good. It's like a 2.0 60 foot because it's slipping a lot in first gear. But again, this car has 170,000 miles, and the transmission was swapped about 80,000 miles ago. So that's pretty good for a stock transmission to be holding that kind of power and running almost mid-11s, I would like, my opinion. To the next pro, the DSG is just going to be way more consistent, like on the track and stuff. Like with the launch control, you can just, there's no clutch pedal, so you're not messing with like how it leaves it all. You just let off the brake and it goes. Like you floor it, you set the RPM you want it to launch at, and you let off the brake. With the manual, you slip the clutch. So there is a lot of variable there, like with the driver. And another thing with being consistent is the DSG won't miss shift. I can't count how many times I was at the drag strip with the GTI and shifting it into third gear, and it was locked me out because of how much torque. Like when the motor torques and stuff and the shift lines aren't perfectly lined up, it will want to lock you out if you try to shift too fast. A lot of people argue that they got a DSG because they live like in a highly congested city and there's a lot of traffic, which is a very good point. I live in Bradenton, Florida. There's like somewhat traffic sometimes, but not really. So like either way, I'd be fine with either one. But yeah, it is true. It is nice how the DSG has different, like you can just put it in drive and not even think about it. I think it's quite boring. I always drive in manual mode just because I'm used to driving manual and I want to have like at least a little connection to the car. But it's nice though, I have the choice. Like if I let Maria drive the car, she'll just drive it in regular mode, but she doesn't want to shift it with the paddle shifters. I don't know why, but she also says she doesn't like driving this car because it's boring. She likes driving the GTI more, and she says she would never get a automatic. Also shift it to sports mode and it'll hold the revs longer. It actually holds it a lot longer. Like it will hold it until like 4,000 to 5,000 sometimes because it's trying to be ready for you to get on it. Like if you're going around corners and stuff, it's always going to be holding the revs nice and high for you. So you're kind of staying in that boost range, which is nice. And now we go to the cons with the DSG. The main one I would have to say is people will always like bash on you for having an automatic, and they'll say like you're not a real enthusiast and that kind of stuff. But it's like, dude, I just want to be fast. Well, fast as these cars can be, like as a Volkswagen / Audi 4-cylinder can be. And another con is it seems like servicing and like clutches are more expensive. Like a good clutch for manual is around like 1,000, and these clutches I have, they're about 1,600 for this car. And servicing on the manual is a lot more simple. You just drain the fluid and then just refill the fluid. On the DSG, you had to like change the filter and stuff as well, so it adds up a little bit more. But the servicing is like, I think it's like 40,000 miles. So I mean, it's not really that much of a cost you have to be thinking about all the time, and I don't think that really matters. But the clutches, that is quite a bit more expensive, but they are supposed to hold up for a while. So when I get the clutches done, I will do a review on those as well, and I'll do like a long-term review too. That's my opinion on the DSG. I really like it so far. I don't think I have any problems with it so far, besides the clutches starting to slip a little bit. But this car has a ton of miles. But yeah, that's it for the DSG. Let's go get into the GTI and take it for a spin. You guys didn't think I would not give you a proper pull, did you? Woo! You see how I shifted that? It was really easy. All you do is just press this little button right here. It's too easy. Maria just got home, and I think we're gonna let her drive the GTI. I think you guys would like that, don't you think?
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's get to it.
Got my little pillow.
gonna show us how you do it?
Do what?
Drive the beast.
It's not that fast anymore.
GTI now, and we're gonna start with the pros of the manual transmission.
There's a squirrel!
And I think the main one that everyone mostly agrees with is the driving feel, and like how you feel like more connected to the car. You know exactly what gear you're in all the time, and it's super easy to downshift whenever you want to get on it, or it's just more fun to drive, and it's more rewarding.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, I don't know, just whenever I drive an automatic, like personally, it just feels like way more boring. Like, I actually feel like I'm driving when I'm like driving a manual. I don't know.
Yeah, Maria's never had an automatic car because
my first car was a 2001 Volkswagen Cabrio.
Yeah.
And it was manual. I mean, it had such long throws, but it was such a cool little car. It was like a convertible, and yeah, I loved it.
Yep, and ever since then, she only wants manual.
So this is my third manual car.
And another pro, which is like, it shouldn't really matter, but when you go to car meets and stuff, people are gonna say like, "Oh, you got the manual. You're a real enthusiast."
Yeah, like save the manuals.
and that's like really the only pros of the manual over DSG, but like you can do no lift shift, and I'll show you a video of me doing that in this car here. People think no lift shifting, like that's the only way you're gonna get close to an automatic shift time. The DSG shift time is no lift shifting, but it's controversial. Like, people think it's bad for the transmission and you're gonna wear out the synchros. And another pro is that just with clutch upgrades, they can hold up to like well over 500 horsepower, these transmissions. And a clutch upgrade is only like a stage 3 clutch upgrade, like that's on this car. It's a spec clutch, and it's also available on my website. It's around $1,000. So now we're going to go to the cons for the manual. The most obvious one, it doesn't shift nearly as fast. It's around 500 milliseconds versus the 8 milliseconds for the DSG. No matter how hard you try, you're just not going to shift as fast as the DSG. And another con for the manual, as soon as you go over stage 1 power, which is like 250 pound-feet of torque, the clutch is going to slip, the stock clutch. As soon as I went to stage 2 on the GTI, like the very first time I took it out, it started slipping. But I mean, the stock clutches weren't made for any power over stock. Next con is that when you have the stock clutch on the manual transmission, the clutch pedal has almost no feel. It's so light, it's like almost hard to tell where like the biting point is and stuff, because it's hard to tell where the pedal is just because like it's so light, like there's no pedal feel. Did you ever drive it with the stock clutch? I don't think you did. Yeah, Maria's only driven it with the stage 3 clutch, and even the stage 3 clutch is not even that heavy. And another point with the clutch pedal is there's way too much dead space when it comes stock. So we put a clutch stop in this one, which is available on my website, link in the description. It gets rid of a lot of that dead space, and it makes it a lot easier to find that biting point on your clutch pedal and clutch.
Give it to me! Give it to me! Give it to me! Give it to me! Just give it! Damn!
And a big part of why I kind of left manual and I want a DSG is because of the mistakes that the driver can make while driving. Like with DSG, you're not going to miss any gears, but on the track, especially the drag strip, when you're launching and all that torque is moving the motor and transmission and stuff, and the shifting cables aren't perfectly aligned, and this car really likes to lock you out, and you have to shove it into gear. And if you don't, even if you get like a short shifter kit, it's still like you have to adjust it perfectly, or else it's still going to lock you out. So you have to spend a lot of time adjusting it perfectly, and then you need transmission mount, engine mount to make sure everything stays planted when you're launching, or else it's like the manual cars really like to lock you out.
But I'm not trying to race.
Yeah, and with that, you can money shift the car. You could accidentally go from 1 to 2 to 1, or 3 to 5 to 3, and overrev the engine, blow it up. That can't happen in the DSG because it won't let you do that. And overall, it's just slower on the track and worse in traffic because the automatic's like just brainless, just gas and brake. So overall, we think if you're someone that like wants to try to be the fastest and get the most out of these 4 cylinders in the Volkswagen and Audis, you're probably going to want to go for the DSG just because of how reliable they can put the power down and consistent, and they're just going to be faster overall. But if you're maybe live in the mountains, you're not ever going to see the track, and you want to have the car like not even in the mountains, just anywhere that you want to like have more fun with the car, the manual is definitely the way to go. It's just more enjoyable to drive. You feel connected with the car. That's how Maria feels. She'd much rather have a manual. She doesn't care about racing and stuff like I do.
Yeah. I definitely like don't really care for like the speed or anything, and I don't know. I get really bored when I drive, so it just like keeps me awake and like I don't know. I guess like interested. Oh, I'm not supposed to go. I thought it was like green.
Yeah. But that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching. If you have a manual GTI, don't forget to check out the clutch stops on my website. Really makes the driving experience a lot better.